You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, we're going to jump right into it. We already got my friend Ben on line 2 hanging out with us. So, Ben, how do you say your last name really quick before we jump on into it, brother?
Nikkel, the way it should have been pronounced. You bet.
There you go.
Nikkel.
And Ben Nikkel. All right. So we were catching up before we hit record. I said, hold on. And Paul's listening to the show. He probably knows how this goes. But it's funny, like when you guys call in, we just get to cutting up and talking shop. And then it's like 20 minutes goes by. And I'm like, hey, we should probably hit the record button. And then we miss all the good stuff at the beginning, you know? So Ben and I were just cutting up before we hit start. And I said, hold on. Let's just hit record, go into our proper, introductions. And then we can cut up and talk shop. But really quick, Ben with TruPro Lawn Works. You're over in, you're down south, right, in Alabama, is that right?
Louisiana. Yep.
Louisiana, that's right.
Just outside of Lafayette.
All right. Well, really quick, you're a regular listener to the show, so we call it the highlight reel or just maybe the 2-minute debrief. But get these guys up to speed, man. What's your story right now? Where's business at today? And then maybe get like the 2-minute Cliff Notes version of who you are, your background, and what you do.
Sure, absolutely. Listen, TruPro Lawn Works got started this year. I knew last fall that was a direction that I was kind of wanting to go. Obviously, after the great scare of 2020,
sure,
kind of had me realizing things are uncertain. Trust me, it didn't take 2020 to make me realize things are uncertain. However, I think maybe my tolerance filter just got full, and I decided to kind of branch out on my own, make something for myself, for my family, something that isn't quite as discretionary to someone else.
Sure.
So I started to kind of really research it a little bit. I got a good little calling. I knew I wanted to do something, but a buddy of mine and I, we were going to get some mechanical parts for some ATVs that he was repairing, and they had some lawnmowers there, and we just started kind of chewing on each other's ears on the way back, kind of spitballing, playing catch about the possibility. You think you'd take off, you think a lawn care. It's something I always love. I'm a self-professed lover of the lawn,
Yeah.
And anytime I can get a chance out there, that's kind of my happy place. But we just kind of danced around the idea a little bit. That was about as far as that went. I started doing some serious research on my own. Kind of looking into it, what the feasibility is, and that's when I found you, actually.
Okay.
And all, Blake from BB and Paul Jameson, Caleb and Brittany Almond. You just really got me switched on to all those guys, Andy Mulder, Naylor, and really just started kind of just soaking in information.
Cool.
So around December, I decided to go ahead and go live with it. Got the LLC. That was I switched gears and made building the business my work day. So that was, I punched in at 7 a.m., worked till 4 o'clock, had the desk set up, my workspace, phone calls, et cetera, and really just made an honest drive of it. Kind of like I've heard you say before, jumping off the cliff and building the plane on the way down. So
that's right. That's a Josh Latimer one, and that's one of the better ways I've heard it put. So.
Amen. That's exactly how it felt too. So I knew I had a little bit of time before spring, so I figured I'd make the best use of that, which I did. I feel, but obviously, it's going to come with hard work, and everybody, you kind of seek to for soft advice. I'd call it. It's kind of, hey, what do you think about that? It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. Yeah, it's really saturated market and da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sure. So I really did a great job of preparing for that first year of hardship, of just hardship, grinding it out, knocking on doors and beating the brush and trying to flesh out the clients and kind of make a name for myself, make a mark. So, but it's been going well. This season it was a little slow getting some traction, but it came in hard.
So what's the company look like today? Fast forward about 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months. Where are you guys at today? Is it you and a couple guys, or just running solo? Like, how's things looking right now, real time?
I've got a part-time guy that I use from time to time.
Okay, cool.
I don't want to get too heavily leveraged. I know that can happen quickly. So I've actually utilized a lot of advice that I've heard from you and like I said, Paul Jameson and Naylor and Blake, and kind of being selective. I kind of went into it with that approach, with kind of carving out my niche before I had to start trimming too much fat. I guess I was more selective about what clients I was, what am I trying to say, kind of marketing to, so that when they came in, that I didn't have to go through and create the great trimming of, fall of 2022. So get rid of all the, non-hackers that weren't really working out or fitting my business model.
Okay.
So
nice.
It actually, yeah.
No, that's great. Well, here's what we're going to be talking about here in a quick second, because when we were messaging back and forth, and a lot of you guys have been reaching out and trying to get everybody on the show that has a good story, and almost everybody has their own unique story. Like every penguin has a song, right? But that's how my brain works. But you and I were messaging back and forth, and you had a couple good suggestions for the show. Some that were covered, some things that were not covered, and I said that's an interesting take on it. So that's where I want to talk to you after the commercial break here. Is I want to hear how you prepared for the upcoming season, and then also you were saying I don't know if I was as prepared for the upside as I was. So I want to kind of hear both sides, because you're like okay. You were like, I don't know if we're going to, how this thing is going to go in the spring. So you had a lot of contingencies and did things very thoroughly. But I want to know if that worked out how you planned, right? Because a lot of people are, wait till there's 5 green lights to start down that road. And right. Usually it just doesn't work like that. So I'm kind of curious to see, did that plan work out for you? Did you come up to a blinking yellow and you're like, I don't know what the hell this means, in this analogy. So these are the kind of things I'm going to ask you when we come on back from hearing from today's show sponsors and announcements. So let's do this really quick. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to hear a little bit more coming right up after today's announcements. Hang tight.
Ever wonder how to get the best-looking lawn on the block? You know, the kind where all the neighbors drive by slowly and stare at your well-manicured masterpiece thinking you must be a turf wizard? Yeah, we thought so. At Earthway Products, we have your back with all the right lawn and garden tools that allow you to dominate and win the prize of best-looking lawn on the block. We have all types of spreaders that are professional grade, built for accuracy, efficiency, and toughness. Simply said, Earthway products are engineered to last, and we have over 50 patents to prove it. That's our way of saying you can have confidence that our products will get the job done and make your life easier. We also have a fertilizer program that will help you grow a lawn greenskeepers will envy. So whether you're a homeowner, lawn care operator, facilities manager, business owner, or golf course superintendent, Earthway is here to help you make a perfect first impression. Stop by earthway.com and experience the difference. That's earthway.com. Proudly American made in America's heartland, Bristol, Indiana.
All right, Ben, well, we're going right back to you, my friend. So without wasting any time here, I want to go back to, let me see if I can pull up the message really quick. All right. Is this okay if I read this out loud?
Sure.
If not, we'll edit this out. But you said, hey, bro.
No grammatical errors, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we're long bros. We're not spelling bees champions over here. So you said, I had a thought today. Wanted to talk about how was I ready for the business, and what if it doesn't work? The blessings have broke the levee, and I'm realizing how unprepared I was for what if it takes off. So maybe I don't know, maybe this is what I'm taking out of this message. You underestimated how fast this thing may grow. So you're scrambling to kind of get everything under your feet. So what did you mean, or what were you thinking in December? Like, hey, this thing's going to, rocket ship, or hey, this thing might be, the little wheel on the train, and you're just going with a little cart, trying to get this thing moving. And then maybe expectation versus reality. What did happen this spring? Did you underestimate? Did you overestimate? Take me through that whole journey, because that's the question you asked me that you wanted to share about.
Absolutely. That was, I spent and I've suffered from analysis paralysis my whole life. Always believed that, I've never been in trouble because I've thought too much. However, a little slow to action on many, many things, many events that are opportunities that have come, a little slow to pull the trigger. So But that absolutely was it. So I sat down, and I'm my father's son, and I'm going to analyze something and research it and absolutely do my best to tilt the field in my favor. So I did that. And obviously, I found out what the faults were in the industry, in my region. I banged on some doors. I made phone calls that reached out to some of the Chamber of Commerce, some of the people that had some of the employment statistics, industry statistics that actually kind of, knew a little something. I kind of took all that raw data, fished through it a little bit myself, put my best eye on it. Obviously, I'm not an analyst or anything like that, so most of it was cross-eyed and drooling. But I tried to actually minimize the risk. Obviously, there's going to be risk, and there's going to be a point where you just gotta kind of pull the trigger. But that's what I did. Boy, I had contingency plans if I could find, clients what new, especially in my region. You guys are excellent. I love it. Anytime I watch like the Hype House or I listen to you folks, you and your crew kind of discussing potential variables. There's a lot of variables.
Sure.
But I remembered that I was looking at it way too wrong. I was looking at it in this, come on, Brian, just give me the secret sauce. Just hit me with the do this. Just hit me with the do that. And I kind of had to step back and realize he's telling you how to think, not what to think. And so as I kind of started processing, I started adding my own variable for X, my own variable for Y, my own, I kind of in my regional area, kind of had to do my own footwork, my own legwork a little bit. And kind of, obviously, you guys give great direction. You can really tell that you guys are passionate about the success of the guys starting out into this. And it really showed forth and gave me a good plan, a good general direction to start in. Let
me ask you this. Since we're right there, what was your initial plan coming out of the gate in December? And you can answer this as like details you want or as esoteric as you want. Some people are like, hey, the age old question, what does success look like to you? Like, it's a variable answer. That's why everybody asks that stupid question on every stupid podcast. But it's a good question though. But my point is, what did success look like for you? Was there like a certain amount of clients or revenue? Because you were trying to make this plan. You didn't want to overthink it, but you didn't want to underthink it. So what was that first benchmark or checkpoint? Like, what were you trying to accomplish with this thing your first 6 months out of the go?
I wanted to be very careful, once again, just because I saw the pitfalls and I'd heard from what you folks were experiencing, the clients that are slow to pay or the clients, the wrong kind of yard for, I really loved the term that I'd heard. I think it was you speak on, it was boutique, lawn care. And obviously I heard boutique, what? I'm not that bougie. Let's go, But yeah. I thought about it and I kind of just dissected that a little bit. And I thought, but that's what I would want. I don't want, chucking a truck or I always use the term, two couillons and a Z-turn. That's a Cajun word down here. Kind of means, old dummy.
Sure.
So, but, so two couillons in a Z-turn, I didn't want to be that guy. Coming out, taking your shirt off, cigarette hanging out of my lip, catching some rays. I wanted to. I kind of did a soft.
They got those guys down there too because we had the same thing. Oh, just ripping darts and the roofer tan, and I'm like, what in the hell?
Yeah, you got it. Cut off shorts that are way too frayed and way too high. Yeah.
And simultaneously always way too tight. I'm like, what is this guy?
Way too.
I don't know the blue jean jort guy. It's I don't. That's it. I got nothing, man. And that's
and that was it.
Well, you can keep going. You keep going.
No, that's exactly. And so because of that stigma, that was kind of, I don't know, want to say my business model or my mission statement. When I was kind of constructing this was, I named it TruPro because I wanted to act like a true professional. I wanted that to be exude through how I talk, how I respond to phone calls, how I communicate to the work product I provide. And that was exactly it. And I understand that doesn't always appeal to the masses. But I did my best, especially in the beginning, to kind of stay away from the money motivated, the price motivated client, people that were more interested in the quality And as I did that, there was some suffering a little bit. Obviously, I was like, hey, yeah. And I said yes when I should have said no. I said no when I should have said yes. I had the whole hair pulling out. And I'm not done. I'm about shin deep in this whole shindig. So
sure,
just getting my feet wet. But it was so gratifying to see that formula kind of start to pay off. All of a sudden, the people that weren't so price motivated, they started leaving me wonderful reviews. I've been blessed with great clients and good properties. They leave me wonderful reviews on my Google business page, which I've had good success with for, the amount of work I've been doing really just kind of came at this impasse where I want to say the client review caught up with my work product.
Nice.
You do a really great job on a poor property, and people kind of, hey, you made the tall stuff short. That was great. Okay, but you're still too high, but you're too high to them.
Mm-hmm.
People are willing to pay for a quality product as long as they get what they expected. And that's kind of how I am. That's how I was raised. You may have to pay the money, but make sure you get what you paid for. So that was who I started appealing to.
So you got out of the gate some great, better pricing, better customers. You didn't just go for the, everybody. You were a little bit more selective. You we're trying to be intentional building this thing because your angle was being a true professional, and you had listened to so many other great folks that put out other, amazing content. And it really, I don't know how you would really describe it, but like, let's say college is probably the easiest analogy. And instead of starting as a freshman at 101 courses, you were already taking 1 and 2 and 3 and year of experience of year 1, 2, and 3. And you started at year 3, instead of, year 1 and cutting your teeth, learning these hard lessons because you were listening to other great folks. It was able to accelerate you and put you at a whole different mentality, I guess, even, coming right out of the gate.
Well, and that's it too. I'm 43, and I've had a couple careers before this, and that were amazing, and I've done some learning from, and I've cut my teeth into it. And I realized, look, I'm a little behind the curve as far as execution of this wonderful idea goes. So I did. I like I said, I approached it day to day. This is my job, 5 days a week, maybe even 6. My wife will tell you. Hey, Brian Fullerton at 11:30 at night is fun, but it's time to go to bed. So it's
11:30. That's like my peak hours, man. I'm ready to rock and roll between 11 and 3.
Oh, that's just when I move to the couch. That's just when I get kicked out of the bedroom and got to
Right. Yeah, everybody wants to do a coaching call. I'm like, 6 to 9. I'm like, you want to do a coaching call, man? I don't charge you after 3 a.m. man. I'm up. Especially if I'm plowing snow, man. I'm up. I'm wired. And you guys think I'm crazy, but or think I'm making this stuff up. But Dylan Stevenson, him and I will have some of our best conversations when we're both plowing snow at 3 a.m, man. And or me and Bedell. We'll talk for 3.5 hours straight. I'm not even kidding. So it's winter or summertime, but that's a whole other story.
That's right.
Well, let me ask you this: what is your whole approach was? You wanted to make sure that you were crossing your T's and dotting your I's. I think that's the first. Go ahead.
And that was a lot of it too. Is there's so much that analysis paralysis. I had to know when to give, had to know when to let go, and I really didn't, and I didn't. But I also knew that, like, through listening to you guys, that's okay. That's okay. It's gonna come. It's gonna happen. You're gonna find your jive, and you're gonna be okay. So it was a lot of. It still is, day to day. It's a lot of self-forgiveness and hey, that one slipped by, or hey, that one hit you square between the eyes. Just work on the next one. The last one isn't as important as the next one. So just pay attention, and that was it. I was so ready. And I did. I told the wife, we had the whole sit down, come to Jesus talk. Look, this is going to stink for, it sounds like probably between 2 to 3 years before we really start seeing a return on this. And that's like I said, I'm not killing it right now, but boy, what great traction we've got. And I wasn't ready for that. As I progressed through this, I wasn't ready for the success. I thought I had time. I thought I had, hey, no, that's okay. You're going to struggle get ready to struggle. Get ready for the suck part, not for the, for the victory dance. And, still not doing the victory dance. Like I said, the ebb and flow of the industry and especially the economy, the way it is right now, always keeping an eye up. But, that was something that I always preached to my oldest son is, when he gets out there and starts string trimming, I just got to tell him, hey, remember to look up. Remember to look up. And it hit me one day because that way he can see where he's going. You know, he gets this tunnel vision right here. And I realize that's what I do. Not with string trimming, but in my business. I get so focused right here that sometimes I forget to look up and see potential, you know, obstacles coming at me or wins, or, you know, sit back and enjoy the W for half an hour, and then move back on. But so I got to remember to look up. I keep telling myself that when I kind of get in one of my little funks and my little moods of I can fix this, I can twist this, I can make this work. Just look up and see, and take a minute. So
let me ask you this. I want to ask you what is some of the unexpected things that, you know, like better way to say it. What were some of the unexpected things that came your way with the growth that you were experiencing? That, you know, it's like the whole, like you were just joking about earlier, jumping off the cliff and building your way down, or building your airplane on the way down. It is one of those things. It's called peak to peak principle. That's just, I talk about it a ton of times on the show. And you don't go from here to, you know, K2. You don't go from here to Mount Everest. It's 7 different ridges. You get to the top and you go, man, I climbed this mountain. And then you realize there's another gigantic mountain behind it, but you couldn't see it until you got to the top of the first ridge. And that's business. That's life. That is on every different topic, from fitness to relationships to parenting to Christianity, you know, being a good Christian, or, you know, your spiritual follower, or whatever you follow. So let me ask you this. Before we go on to what's the couple things you didn't expect, I wanted to just really quick, like 90 seconds, give me 1 or 2 other things that you did expect and you did prepare right out of the gate that might be helpful to that new guy getting started. A lot of new people listening to the show. So you said quality customers, weren't chasing the cheapos and the cheap prices. You didn't have time for that. You didn't want to mess around with that.
Right.
So before we talk about the unexpected things that you're dealing with now, give me 1 or 2 other quick things that you did really well out of the gate. And it's, you know,
okay.
I want you to brag on yourself for a quick minute, because you did put some thought process into this thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot of thought. Sometimes I got to go through and disseminate whether it was the right thought. So that's we're figuring that part out.
Yeah, that's life. We all got plenty of time to worry about that, man. So
that's right. Well, so as I kind of started out, that was like, you guys identified so many of the pitfalls, and I took them and I kind of ran with it. My wife and I, we drive around, and we kind of start keying in on some of those. You know, I think you said it before. You know, is the who is my target demographic? Is my 2.2 kids, that nuclear family, dual income, $250,000 house, that kind of neighborhood area. And you see a boat out in the front, or something like that, something with a little disposable income. But they don't want to, especially down here in Louisiana, man. There's a festival or something going on every weekend, so everybody likes to be out, and if not that, they're out fishing. So I wanted to kind of appeal to that. However, there's also a lot of folks down here in southern Louisiana who like to do their own stuff. So I'm still working on the route density a bit. In fact, I'm probably about 80% residential, 20% commercial right now.
Okay.
Which is it's playing okay. But a lot of, I don't know that I have more than 2 yards, that are under an acre.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's a lot of bigger. Yeah, right. It's a lot of bigger areas. So I kind of had to adjust some of that, but that was okay. Because my timeline, especially, I wasn't afraid to tell them, look, this is going to cost you. It's going to hit you a little harder. We're going to go up, especially if you want to go biweekly. I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm not supposed to go biweekly.
No, whatever.
But down here, down here, you kind of, and once again, kind of had to play with my region. Kind of had to play with what the market susceptibility, market value they have. My client has, and so how to reach that and appeal to that. But I set myself up very well. I'm proud of myself for that. By the time March hit, which I know you guys were like, what, March? But
it was still plowing snow.
Folks are up in, I know they're still up in Iowa, and they're telling me, they're like, what? So I'm already out there looking at, hey, I'm going to have to go ahead and scalp your yard, and let's get that new growth coming.
Yeah.
But,
that's awesome.
By that point, I had yard book out, which I don't mean to, promote your thing, but it worked. and it works great. I need to get a little bit more savvy with it, so I spend a little bit of my off time trying to experiment with some of the new stuff. Haven't found the self-destruct button yet, which is good because I keep clicking on everything to see what it does. But I started out with that. I started out with my key areas, my hard boundaries that I don't pass, to try to build myself a little area. I had the insurance done, LLC finished, my licenses with local and state. Everything was in bank accounts, et cetera, et cetera.
Good.
Everything was good to go. Everything was ready to kind of accept it. So
you were a real business out of the gate. You weren't, right. And there's no judgment here. I mean, this was my story. I was mowing 20 lawns before I ever got a DBA and, liability insurance, business cards, magnets, a company shirt, for crying out loud. I remember getting my first shirts. It was like $300. I know I didn't have, and they were hideously ugly. Like I ordered them from a friend too. And I spent $300 on these things back in 2005. That's like $600. That's $6 million today's money with inflation. And I literally they were the wrong sizes. They were ugly. There was this red that I've never seen before. It looked like nuclear red. I'm like, it was just awful. But you know what? Like, I wasn't trying to wait for all five green lights. I was like, what? This first light is green. I'm not even looking at the second, third, fourth, fifth green light, peak to peak. Right. I'm just trying to cross this mile road and get to the next mile road, and we'll figure out that problem when we get there. Now, it is okay to sometimes, go up in the cherry picker, look at the road. Hey, there's a cliff there and there's the roads out. Okay. That's probably good to know. So there is, doing your research and putting pen to paper. That is always an intelligent move. So I love it. I really appreciate you sharing that, because a lot of guys are, they're just getting started. They want to, start their own lawn landscape business in 2023. And they're trying to, Paul has one of his statements, get the boat close to the dock. I couldn't agree more. That's such a awesome message that if you guys listen to this show or many other shows, this is what we're trying to do, is save you time, money, and really heartache and frustration, really, because that's, as a dude, that's the last thing you want to do is be frustrated. So those are the things you did well out of the gate, expected. Let's talk about where you're at right. Go ahead if you want to add one more thing really quick.
Just one. That was one of the reasons why I hit it. I made it. I did it legitimate right out of the jump. I mean, that was a tough one to kind of explain to my wife too, and even to rationalize with myself was the good Lord. This came down from exactly. The good Lord told me this is going to work. He did. I prayed about it. I thought about it. He said this is it. So
I like that.
I had full faith in it, and I've always had full faith in him. So that was great. But I did that too, and that was it. Yeah, this is $100 up, this is $150 up, that's another, and just kind of watching it go out to pay all these state agencies to get state and city and et cetera, and insurance and
absolutely.
Yeah, honey, are we ever going to get a client? I don't know. So, but I did that too because even like working out, I know how I am. I can't work out at home. I have to go to the gym. I have to go all in. I got to get ready, get my headphones. And I have to go to the gym, go to a place, and have that be where I get I'm plugged in now.
There you go.
And so I guess I kind of feel that if I had kind of shorted it a little bit, maybe I wouldn't see it as you jumped off the cliff. Here we go.
Yep.
Get to work. And that intensity. So
and that does work for some people. Like I always say, like make a decision and make it right. Like Liz and I are. Sometimes not overextend ourselves, but we like bite off more than we can chew, and then we're like, all right, time to like make hay and figure this out. That's just, I mean, like when we moved into this current apartment, like it was in our financial means, but we had never spent this much money for rent. I'm like, are you kidding me? It was like 3 times what we were paying at our last halfway house, and which is why it was a halfway house. For most of you guys, you're probably paying this anyway for your mortgage, but Liz and I, we were so broke, dude. And we're like, people are like, oh, with all those YouTube millions. I'm like, dude, we moved here 4 years ago before our YouTube channel was making money. I don't understand. I'm like, give me just a little bit of credit with my lawn care business. Like, we have a decent little lawn care business. I know it's not, I'm not Logan Manning over here, or, the Almonds or Corey Ballard, but I'm like, hey, we make like 80 to 100, 150 off of this thing. Like, give me the time time of day. Okay, I'm out there with you guys. I'm slinging mulch and making $12 an hour just like you guys, right? So relax. So
that's right.
anyway, so let me ask you this. What you talked about the things you did right out of the gate, all this other stuff. Awesome. Maybe we got about 10 minutes here. Talk about what you didn't expect, or maybe some things that you're dealing with now, some challenges. To go full circle to our message on Instagram, you're like, hey, there's things that you guys covered that helped me out of the gate, and there's things not that we didn't cover, but hey, I think all the lights look like they're green. At least I can see 3 out of those 5 street lights. They look green. And not that it's negative or bad or evil or anything like that, but it's just, hey, I got to the 3rd green light. And I noticed that I'm hitting a red light the next one, or the road had some potholes in it that I didn't expect. What does that look like, and what does that mean for you? What are some of those things that you didn't expect with where you're at today?
Sure. One of the big ones, and I guess that's I didn't have a clear defined idea as to my 3-year, 5-year mark.
Okay. Okay.
I kind of decided, I'd let the market be my guide. I'd read off of it and pivot and adapt to what my clientele was telling me. So I didn't have a clear outline, and I'm kind of having to try to focus a little bit and reshuffle a little bit as we're going through. But I also know I better do a small course correction now, where it's going to be a major one down the road. And like most people that I hear, it's employees. Where do I want to be? Do I want to spend more money in the machinery aspect and make it a one-man traveling band with me and my boys essentially, or 1 or 2 guys, or do I want to really focus and try to find that and develop that that variable that makes it very difficult, because that's on one side I don't want to put and lean so hard on the workforce that may, as we've just seen over the last 2 years, may be there, may not.
Right.
And
sure.
And hinge so much on that. So I have bit off a bit more than I can chew. And it's been pushing me, but I also know too, that 100 days of hell or whatever that was spoken of, and that I know we're gonna hit those dog days of summer. It's gonna slow up, and we're actually kind of starting to get there a little bit already right now here in Louisiana. It's cracking off around 100 degrees every day. So
yeah,
we'll get there, but I wish that I had a bit more clear cut plan. All of a sudden I'm out there on properties, and the phone starts ringing. And, I put them off until, my evenings, and I call them back and I start figuring this out. And I'm going, my goodness, my week's full already. And a lot of people saying yes, and a lot of people realizing that, I think you had a podcast one time. It's like, oh, it's amazing. This green stuff just starts shooting up out of the ground. And I was like,
I was so mad that day, dude.
Yeah.
I was so mad that day.
I know that guy too. Yeah.
Dude, I'm like, dude, you're 35 years old, bro. Like, the lawn didn't just start growing in circa 2022,
right.
People are just so, like, I'm not the standard, bro. I try to plan ahead a little bit, but 31 calls and then 12 calls the next day. I was like 45 people just in the last, and I'm a nobody company. I'm a teeny tiny little business in my area. You know what I mean? Like, that means 4,000 people, 400 people are like, oh man, got to get the lawn cut. But
yep.
So
who knew?
Yeah. Who would have knew? Yeah, dude. It's like people are like, oh man, snow's hard. I'm like, dude, you live in Buffalo. It's like, what did you think was going to happen? You guys get 120 inches. Like, oh man, I'm working a lot. You think? Like,
right.
Who would have thought? Man, it's hot in the South. Boy, no.
That started this year, yeah.
Yeah.
Started.
Yeah. This whole global warming thing, man. There's a
right.
And
that's a lot of it, though. I'm wanting to kind of. I'm just wanting to make sure that I just. There's a lot of and that's just it too. That was what my time management has been a big part.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure I said that.
How to juggle everything, it sounds like.
Oh,
okay.
You got it. You got wife and kids and sharpening blades and hit my 100 hour on the mower. It's time to service up. 2 flat tires on that property. Holy cow! There's leaving that buffer zone a little bit. That I would say that would be the biggest part, but also that time management, the skill of structuring that day is really, and that's just it, going, well, we got done a little early. Let's knock out. Well, wait a second, because I'm scheduled to 4:00. So let's go find something. I need to go find something to do. Whether that's, hey, we're within 500 miles of the oil change on the truck. Let's do that. Or, let's pull everything off and check spindles, or let's do something. So using my time wisely, I guess, because when it came in, it really came in. So.
Well, it's one of those things too, where I love the military. I think it's like they always say, like, when you're in the thick of it, you don't have time to think. You have to do. Like, right. It's auto response. And some of you guys have served the military like forever, grateful, thankful, appreciate that. But it's like when the enemy is, shooting fire at you, you don't have time to think, what do I do? Like, dude, it's automatic response. Like, you are doing whatever your rules of engagement are to, eliminate that threat and blah, blah, blah. Right. It's like, you don't have time
to back on your training. Yep.
That's right. I mean, I love I say this before on podcasts, every single military movie says, remember your training and you will make it home alive. It's like, but that's the truth. And so you listen to the podcasts and the videos and this and that and the courses and the conferences, and like, it helps you with your training. But you're going into the thick of it. This is your first, year and season, and so you're remembering a lot of this stuff from quote unquote your training, and it's helping you navigate a lot of these challenges. I don't know. Can you imagine not having? And I'm not saying my show specifically, but I'm saying, like, I'm always wondering, like, can you imagine not having resources like this just to have perspective that things like this could go on or happen?
You had it pretty tough. You guys, you trailblazers, and I'll say that. Like I said, I'm 43. I give props to all you, you're younger, but you're within 10 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You guys got it figured out, and then you gave it away. You gave away that idea. And that was a lot of it too, was that, we find, cohesion through our faults and our failures, not through our victories all the time. And so that when we all know that we're going through, don't worry, you're not doing something so wrong. Everybody goes through this, and you're going to find a way through it. You're going to adapt, and it's going to be okay. That was where I drew a lot of confidence from, was that, hey, it'll be okay. It'll be all right. And through the course of my life, I've always understood what one man can do, usually another man can do.
Amen.
You just kind of figure out what pieces you need to change out to make it esoteric to you. But that was a big part. And what else I've learned so far this spring, I got to take care of myself. That 43-year-old body is, you're the biggest machine. I started realizing I got all these fancy, little pieces of equipment that have been paying for themselves just fine. But if I'm not out there operating it, guess what? I got laid up, twisted my back the other day and had to take a full day. And fortunately, it was a light day. But you kind of push and push and push, and I just get one more. This weekend I'll just work through it. No, I'll work ahead, so that way if there is rain, oh boy. So
I got people all the time, $100 for headphones or $80 for pants or $100 for shoes, and I'm like, dude, you said it, man. You're the number one machine on your in your company that has to make sure that it has no downtime. You know what I mean? So
that's it.
That I've heard anybody say it or articulate it that way in a while, but it's so true, and that's really, really good. Hey, let me ask you a quick question. We'll wrap this thing up here in about 2 minutes, but I wanted to ask you before we hit record. You have a really cool background and story, and I wish we could go into all of it, but you were working with police as a police officer, and you were a diver. All this stuff. I want to ask you really quick about diving, and if you can draw any analogies or correlations to running your new business, because I'm thinking to myself, my brother's a certified diver. He's legally blind, which is crazy, and he can't. But he's a certified diver. He's actually a really good diver. He's a photographer. He can't drive. He's legally blind. I mean, he's arguably blind. But here's the deal: his photography is literally insane. It's the weirdest, craziest blessing. It's so wow. He can dive, but he's blind. It just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, but he told me a lot of times it's not the running out of air that scares you, because I'm like, picking his brain. He's like, it's not the depth all the time that will crush you. He said it's the disorientation that kills people more often. He said it's the getting turned around or upside down, or you think you're going up when you're going down, or you're going through a tunnel or a cave or this or that. Like, is there any truth to that? And do you have any relatable stories like that with business or not checking, your watch or your gauges or your meters? There's got to be something that you can probably draw a connection with. Cause diving is really cool. I ain't going out there. I saw Lake Placid at like 6 years old, and that messed me up. So I ain't going down there. But that's I don't do the ocean, bro. But that was a lake. But I don't do the ocean. But the movie messed me up. But anyway, talk about diving for a couple minutes. And do you have any cool stories or something that can relate to business?
Well, and yeah, I feel this has kind of been the culmination of a lot of the path that God has had me on. It's just really. It kind of, I can take a piece from every bit of it, and not just for myself, but with my boys coming up, and I kind of, I can kind of relate some or say a quippy little dad thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it works, and it is actually connected a lot of dots, even for myself. Cause you're out there sweating on the back deck, or, you're crammed in 10 feet of water upside down in a hole, trying to, fix a pipeline. And you just hating your job and you're hating life, and a lot of it is attitude. But I'm actually I'm a surface supplied heavy metal hat diver. It's the commercial deep sea. So we got the umbilical and weights and all that stuff. And we have what we call bailout bottles that we wear on our backs. It's a shortened little 30 cubic, 50 cubic scuba bottle that we have for emergency air, just in case. And the whole adage when I went to dive school was, they always said, "How long does your bailout bottle last?" And they said, "Oh," everyone's like, "Oh, there's a lot of variables, depth, workload, et cetera, et cetera." And the instructor came back with, "The rest of your life." That's how long it lasts, right up to you're dead. So, so it's kind of, we don't know. And that's been kind of a lot. It's obviously very easy to get disoriented. And when you feel that time crunch too, obviously diving depth and timeline, the clock is, you're always against it. The second your head splashes in the water, tick, 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 tick. Mm-hmm. So, and that's kind of a lot. And that actually has a lot to do with how we are in life. Look, the second we started beating that heart, tick, 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 till our time runs out too. So it's like I tell my boys, if you bring the right attitude, I can teach a chimp trigonometry if it comes to me with the right attitude. So I always kind of try to, and so I have to kind of pull myself aside too, because it's really easy to get downtrodden. It's really easy to get offended by things not going your way and down on yourself. And the right attitude is so important. And that's what I used to tell the guys on the back deck, offshore too, is you come to me with ethic, work ethic, and right attitude. We'll figure the rest out. So, diving is, it's a beautiful thing, but it's very scary. Kind of like entrepreneurship. It's the entrepreneurial world is, it's very exciting. It's very scary, but, as long as you kind of got that umbilical, you'll find your way home. You'll be okay. You're still anchored. So, just try not to overthink things. Try not to outrun your capabilities, your scope, and you'll be okay. That's kind of what it's been teaching me anyway.
That's good. That's you're tethered, man. Like you said, you're umbilical. I like that. You're connected to the source. You know what I mean? And
that's it.
Man, that's good stuff. I'm not gonna add anything to that because I'll probably mess it up. But we're gonna end on a high note. You know what I'm saying? So that's so cool, man. Well, I'm genuinely excited for you. I love hearing the excitement, the joy, the passion, the fear. Sometimes the fear of God.
That's it. And that's too. And that's we got to give it back to. I'm excited. I was excited for this more to be able to tell you, hey,
amen.
Right.
Yeah.
It works. Not that you need to know that it works, but I'm excited to tell you that it works.
Man, that's awesome. It really, like I said, we were messaging back and forth for a couple of days on Instagram, and I said, hey, I want to get your story out there. I said, let's catch up here soon, and we were able to lock it down, thankfully. But no, I really, really do appreciate the time and having you share your story. Let's do this really quick. I try to button up the podcast with like final. You kind of already ended it with just a great nugget. But what's one last thing thing, or maybe what's the best piece of advice you've been telling your boys? How old are they, by the way? You got kids?
Yeah, I've got 3 stepsons. I've got 15, 12, and 5.
Okay.
And they are ornery. Ornery.
Well, you said you're. I bet at that age, yeah. God bless, man. And yeah, that's a whole other story. They all start acting funky at that age. You guys know how that goes. But well, I love.
I got to figure it out. I do the math, so I got a map for them. I know what they're thinking before they think it. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I know what's going on up there.
That's right.
Well. So I like what you ended with. But any quick parting tips or thoughts that you wanted to share with these guys while we got you that might have helped you in business or even that you're passing along to your boys?
Remain fluid, remain teachable. That's kind of what is, I get, especially, at this stage of my life. I like to think that I know a lot, and I do, and I draw from a lot of that. But I'm in a field here too, where I need to remain fluid. And, as things keep changing, I need to make sure that I'm being a good student and I'm doing everything that I can, to progress this. This is, I'd say remain teachable.
That's good.
Remain pliable.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's a good age or a good adage for anybody. It doesn't matter what your age is,
Right. And I know you can get kind of hard on you guys too. You guys give a lot to yourselves in the social media aspect and the teaching part. So don't lose heart. You and Caleb and Blake and Paul and all you guys hang in there too. And it's appreciated. It really is. So.
Thanks, man. We appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's, like I said, you guys keep downloading them, man. We'll keep putting them out because, and messages like yours and many other people that, say from an email to a comment to a rating or a review, all that mess. I know I read it. I know the other guys do too, but I read it, man. I love that feedback, and you guys always letting us know how we're doing. It doesn't go unnoticed, and it's so cool to see somebody like Ben being able to start at year 3 or 4 or 5, or even if it's just year 2. Where so many of us, have to spend 1 or 2 years to get to that same level, and there's all these young guys out there, Ben. I just love it. Like they're learning year 10, type stuff and accomplishing their first year or 2. What took so many of us 5-10 years to start. Whether you have a show or a podcast or not, all of you guys listening in, you're like, man, these new guys, they don't even know. And then, new guys are like, man, I don't know what's going on. I got 80 customers and 2 mowers and I made $31,000 last month. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Right? So it's,
you're welcome.
Yeah. Amen. Hey man, I was just joking to somebody the other day. I forget who it was, but I said, hey, when you get your Lambo, man, and I fly into your city, you just make sure you pick me up and we'll go for a joyride. All right. So I'm your guys' biggest fan, you know, you guys are like, oh, he's a famous YouTuber. Yeah, right, man. You guys remember, I'll remember me when you guys are famous, all right? When you guys have the next perfect cut and I come over to do a shop tour, you know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, I love it. All right, man. Well, hey, really quick, Ben, where can people find it? And then we'll button this thing up, my friend.
We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. On Instagram, obviously, mostly. It's TruPro Lawn on Instagram, and it's just TruPro Lawn Works on Facebook and anywhere else. But kind of don't have a website up just yet. I hate to say it, I haven't really needed it just yet. But that it is in the works, just to kind of have that front for the world to see. So
sure, awesome, cool deal. All right, that's awesome, man. Well, guys, give Ben a follow on Instagram. Look him up, shoot him a message. All that fun stuff. He's got some great equipment as well. We didn't get to go down that whole rabbit hole, but if you guys got a similar background or you guys got some questions and maybe want to pick Ben's brain, he's available there on Instagram. So Ben, we'll button up right here, man. Thanks for your time, and we really appreciate you taking time out of your weekend afternoon here to join us on the show.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you taking the time and inviting me.
Hey, you betcha, brother. Pleasure's all mine. This has been great. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, we'll button it up here with this episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Appreciate you guys listening in. As always, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, guys, 7 a.m. we drop the podcast. It's always there for you as a little lifeline, and that's your umbilical. That's your anchor to keep you guys pumped up and charged up, and keep supplying that fresh supply of oxygen to you. So, all right, well, we'll button it up right here. Let's kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer, down in the ATL, guys, and we look forward to catching up with you guys on the next one.
Ever wonder how to get the best looking lawn on the block? You know, the kind where all the neighbors drive by slowly and stare at your well manicured masterpiece thinking you must be a turf wizard? Yeah, we thought so. At Earthway Products, we have your back with all the right lawn and garden tools that allow you to dominate and win the prize of best looking lawn on the block. We have all types of spreaders that are professional grade, built for accuracy, efficiency, and toughness. Simply said, Earthway products are engineered to last, and we have over 50 patents to prove it. That's our way of saying you can have confidence that our products will get the job done and make your life easier. We also have a fertilizer program that will help you grow a lawn greenskeepers will envy. So whether you're a homeowner, lawn care operator, facilities manager, business owner, or golf course superintendent, Earthway is here to help you make a perfect first impression. Stop by earthway.com and experience the difference. That's earthway.com. Proudly American made in America's heartland, Bristol, Indiana.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.